There are times in life when it's obvious that we should meet with an estate and trust attorney. For example, it's more obvious that seniors should meet with an estate planning attorney and get their affairs in order than a young couple. But there are a lot of instances throughout life that should remind us that it's time to do some estate planning. For example, like I mentioned, a senior couple, as they approach retirement and they've been working their whole lives accumulating assets, they might start to notice friends of theirs who are getting sick or passing away, heart attacks, strokes, and then it becomes obvious that, maybe it's time to start thinking about getting our affairs in order in case something like that happens to us. And furthermore, what happens if you have to go into a nursing care facility or an assisted living facility because your health is just not what you had expected it would be at that age? It makes sense to get, in that case, to get your estate planning affairs in order. But a less obvious time is on the other end of that spectrum. When you're a young couple and you've got minor children that you're starting to bring into this world, it may be time to sit down with an estate attorney to ask the questions and get answers to the question of what happens if something were to happen to one or both of us, to these kids. Who will take care of them? How will the world know that I wanted this brother and sister to take care of them versus this brother and sister? Or are we going to have to leave that to the court to make those decisions? What about the money you leave behind through life insurance or otherwise? Who's going to manage that on behalf of the kids? When will the kids get that? So these are all a bunch of questions that younger couples should be asking themselves, and they can get a lot of help from an estate planning attorney to help them answer those questions. Another less obvious time that it's important to sit down with an estate planning attorney is as we watch our own parents age. Oftentimes, those parents have never put any estate planning in place, or if they did, it was 30 years old and it's really hopelessly out of date and not relevant to their current situation. The question we need to ask is, how are we going to take care of them as they age? Who's going to be able to write checks to pay the bills on their behalf, or admit them into a healthcare facility, or talk to their doctors on their behalf if they no longer can because of dementia or some other illness? So that's an important time for us to start thinking about getting estate planning, maybe not our own, but our own parents. Another important time is when we come down with a major illness. Who's going to take care of our affairs if we can't? Does your spouse have that authority? What about your adult children? Can they take care of these financial and healthcare matters on your behalf if you're just in too much pain or physically unable to deal with these kinds of legal issues? The courts have their own methods of making sure those things happen if you don't put that in place. But I can tell you that the courts there's a lot more red tape involved, a lot more time and expense of hiring attorneys and waiting on the court to make decisions and so forth than it is if you just take care of this stuff on your own. A good estate planning attorney can sit down with you in all of these different occasions in life and help you understand the risks that you're facing, the legal risks if you don't have good estate planning in place. If you're facing one of these transitions, we'd love to sit down with you and help educate you about your options and about the risks that you're facing. If you mention this video when you call our office, for free, we'll sit down with you for a couple of hours and help educate you about this stuff. I hope it's been helpful. Thanks.